Hello students, today we are going to start chapter 2, New Kings and Kingdoms. This is your second chapter of history. New Kings and Kingdoms. The early medieval period that was from 8th to 13th century, it saw the rise of many kingdoms. If I talk about the north, there were the Palas, the Gurjara, the Pratihars and various clans of the Rajput. So these were ruling at that time. But if I talk about the south, there were Rashtrakutas, Pallavas, Pandyas, and Cholas. So in the north, Palas, Gurjara, Pratihars, and various clans of Rajputs were ruling. In the south, there were Rashtrakutas, Pallavas, Pandyas, and Cholas. In this part 1, we are going to discuss about the north, the kingdoms in the north. Emergence of new dynasties. If I talk about 7th century, by the 7th century, there were big landlords or warrior leaders, or I call them chiefs, called Samantas in various regions of the subcontinent. Means, by the 7th century, there were big landlords or the warriors, chief means the leaders of the warriors, they were called Samantas in the various regions of the continent. Samantas were expected to bring gifts for their king or overlords. Whichever king they were serving, they used to bring gifts for them. Be present at their court. It is a rule that Samantas to be present at the king's court, to provide them military support. Samantas gained power and wealth, assumed titles of Mahasamanta and Mahamandaleshwara. Gradually, these Samantas gained power because they were bringing gifts for the king, they were be present at the court of the king and providing the king military support. So they became very wealthier and powerful, and the title Mahasamanta or Mahamandaleshwar given to them. It means great lord of the region. Eventually, many of them became powerful enough to dethrone kings. Means they become this much powerful that they can overthrow the king and become the king and establish their own rule. That's what I'm saying now. They become so powerful that they can overthrow the king and start ruling themselves. Danti Durga, he was a Rashtrakuta chief, overthrew his Chalukya overlord. So Danti Durga was a person. He was what? He was serving Chalukya king. So Danti Durga was a Rashtrakuta chief. He was serving Chalukya king. But when he became powerful, Danti Durga, he overthrew Chalukya and became the king and established the Rashtrakuta dynasty over there. He performed a ritual called Hiranyagarbha to be reborn as a Kshatriya. A ritual is or a custom called Hiranyagarbha is to be performed. This means to reborn as a Kshatriya only, as a warrior only. Sometimes military skills were used to carve out kingdoms. Military skills were used to shape the kingdom. Mayura Sharman and Hari Chandra. Mayura Sharman and Hari Chandra. These both were Brahmins. They founded Kadamba and Pratihara dynasties respectively. Means Mayura Sharman founded Kadamba dynasty and Harichandra founded the Pratihara dynasty by their military skills. Now this is the map, kindly see it very carefully. Tomra, they used to rule over this region. Chauhan, Gurjar Pratihara, Chandela, Solankis in Gujarat side. Solankis in Gujarat, Rashtrakuta in Deccan, Palas in Bihar and Bengal, Osala, Chola and Pandya. These were the kingdoms. So Pala ruled in Bengal and Bihar from 8th to 12th century. The founder of dynasty was Gopala. Who founded Palas? Gopala. He succeeded by Dharmapala was expanded and strengthened the kingdom. So the Pala king, his name was Gopala. He was succeeded by Dharampala. He expanded and strengthened the kingdom. The Pala were involved in a tri-party struggle with the Pratihars and Rashtrakutas for control of Kannauj. So they were struggling. They want the control of Kannauj. Similarly, Pratihars and Rashtrakutas also they want the control of Kannauj. So they were it was tripartite struggle. The Palas were followers of Buddhism. Which religion they were following? Buddhism. They were supported by the Buddhist universities of Nalanda and Vikramshila. So Palas they founded the religion Buddhism and they supported Buddhist universities, Nalanda universities and Vikramshila. Gurjara Pratihars. They ruled in Gujarat and Rajasthan. Their most powerful ruler was King Bhoja. Who was the powerful ruler of Gurjar Pratihars? Bhoja king. He conquered Kannauj. He was the one who conquered Kannauj. We did not that they were what? Struggling for the control of Kannauj. So later on this Gurjara Pratihar, he took the control of Kannauj and made its capital. It made its capital, Kannauj. King Bhoja, he was succeeded by his son Mahendrapal. His son was also a very powerful ruler. He expanded his father empire further. In AD 118, Muhammad Ghazni defeated the Pratihara ruler and dynasty came to an end. The Gurjara Pratihar dynasty came to end when Muhammad Ghazni defeated the Pratihar ruler in AD 1018. Rajputs, they are the descendants of the Central Asian tribes that had settled in India after the invasion of the Huns. So descendant means the successor, the next ruler. So Rajputs, they are the successor of the Central Asian tribes. They settled in India when the Huns invaded, means when the Huns came to India for controlling the territory. The Rajputs were descendant of local Kshatriya families. They were the descendant means the successor, the next ruling person, that is the descendant of local Kshatriya families. Other insist that they belong to Surya Vamsha and the Chandra Vamsha families. This is the insist of the people that they belong to Surya Vamsha or Chandra Vamsha families. The Tomars, Chauhans, Solankis, Parmars, Chandels were the main Rajput clan of this period. So Tomars, Chauhans, Solankis, Parmars, Chandels, these were main Rajput clans. The Tomars, they built the city of Delhi in 8th century. It was annexed means added by the Chauhans subsequently. Chauhans added this Delhi territory in their kingdom. Tomars ruled in Delhi in 8th century. Chauhans and the Solankis. Chauhans were also called Chahamanas, the most powerful ruler of the Prithviraj Chauhan. So they were Chauhans. He fought against Muhammad Ghori and defeated him in the first battle of Tarain in AD 1191. So the Chauhans, they were also known as Chahamanas. They were the powerful ruler of Prithviraj Chauhan. They fought against Muhammad Ghori and they defeated Muhammad Ghori also in the first battle of Tarain in AD 1191. He died fighting in the second battle of Tarain in AD 1192. Prithviraj Chauhan, he died in the second battle of Tarain in AD 1192. This we did in the previous chapter, that who defeated Prithviraj Chauhan. He was defeated by Muhammad Ghori in the second battle of Tarain in 1192. Solankis in the region of Kathiawar, means that is in Gujarat, the most powerful ruler of Siddh Raja. The rulers of Solanki dynasty, they built the Dilwara temple of Mount Abu and the Sun temple at Madhera. Solankis were the powerful ruler. They ruled the region of Kathiawar. The rulers built Dilwara temple of Mount Abu and Sun temple at Madhera. The Parmars and the Chandels. Parmars. Dhar was the capital of Parmar king. Their most important ruler of Bhoja Parmara. So Parmars, Dhar was the capital of Parmara kings and their most powerful ruler name was Bhoja Parmara. Okay, Dhar was its capital. Next, Dhar is nearby your Gujarat and Madhya Pradesh. Chandels. The most powerful king of Chandela dynasty was the Kirti Varman. Who was the Chandela king? Powerful king Kirti Varman. The capital of Chandela was Khajuraho. The capital of Chandela were Khajuraho. The Chandela rulers built many temples at Khajuraho. A finest example is Kandarya Mahadev temple, that is in Khajuraho. So what this Chandelas did, the most powerful ruler was Kirtivarman, capital was Khajuraho. They built many temples at Khajuraho. Example is Kandarya Mahadev temple. The Rajput remained in power in the 8th and 9th century. The Rajputs are still known for their loyalty, honesty, and bravery. Foreign invasions. Muhammad of Ghazni. Muhammad was the ruler of Ghazni. He was ambitious and wanted to make Ghazni a very powerful kingdom. So Ghazni was a place he wanted to make it more powerful. It is in Afghanistan. Ghazni was very powerful kingdom. He needed a large army, but he did not have enough money to maintain it. He needed a large army because it was a very powerful kingdom. But he was not having money. He was fascinated by the fabulous wealth found in the temples of India. He saw that there are fabulous wealth, means jewelry, money, which is being found in the temples of India. So he invaded India in 17 times. He came to India 17 times for controlling it from AD 1000 to AD 1025. He attacked many places like Punjab, Peshawar, Multan, Mathura, Kannauj, Thaneshwar, Somnath. The most daring raids were against Mathura and Kannauj because he wanted money, so he wanted it to take from the temples of the India because there were many wealth. So here most daring raids he did, it was against Mathura and Kannauj in AD 118 and against Somnath in AD 125. You know the Somnath temple is in Gujarat. It was plundered and all the wealth was taken by the Ghazni. Plundered means the Ghazni took it by force. All the wealth which was in Somnath temple. Even the precious stones, the embedded in the temple walls, were taken out. There were many precious stones that were embedded on the pillars, on the walls of the temples. He took out those also. He died in AD 130. His successor was weak, means the ruler who came after him were weak, and his empire declined rapidly. Muhammad Ghori. Like Muhammad of Ghazni, Muhammad Ghori was also ambitious ruler. He wanted to expand his empire. He had heard Muhammad's invasion of India, means Ghori has heard about Muhammad Ghazni invasion of India. So his motive was not to plunder India, means not to took anything in India by force, but to set up an empire in India. So he invaded India in AD 1175. First he took the control over Multan, conquered Multan. Soon he realized that Punjab was a good base for further conquest, that he should gain the territory of Punjab because it will be a good base for controlling the other territories. In AD 1119, he conquered Punjab also. The boundaries of conquest of Muhammad Ghori now touched the kingdoms of Prithvi Raj Chauhan. So Ghori, when he conquered Punjab, he started touching the kingdoms which were under the Prithvi Raj Chauhan. So in first battle of Tarain, Ghori was defeated by Prithvi Raj Chauhan. In second battle of Tarain, Ghazni, he defeated Prithvi Raj Chauhan. It is the image of your Muhammad Ghazni. Muhammad Ghori. Both fought wars for the control of Punjab and the Ganga Valley. So they were fighting for the control of the Punjab and the Ganga Valley. The conflict, means the dispute, led over the two battles of Tarain near Bhatinda in AD 1191 and the second battle was 1192. I told you in the first battle, Prithvi Raj Chauhan, a crushing defeated on Muhammad Ghori. In the second battle, Prithvi Raj Chauhan died fighting at Tarain at AD 1192. With his victory, Ghori became the master of the Delhi area and eastern Rajasthan. When he defeated Prithvi Raj Chauhan, he became the ruler of eastern Rajasthan and Delhi. His rule extended to Ganga and Yamuna Doab, Bihar and Bengal. He also defeated Jayachand of Kannauj in AD 1194. In last, he defeated Jayachand of Kannauj in AD 1194. This is the image of Muhammad Gauri. Thank you and have a nice day ahead.